I'm chef instructor at Philadelphia OIC down on North Broad Street. This is Tracy. Tracy works with me. She was one of my graduates from many years ago, and for the past few years has been working with me at the main building. Joe and I, Chef DiGeronimo and I have been friends for a long time, and we've collaborated with a lot of different things over the years, food events, whatnot. So as he mentioned, I'm going to do 2 plates for you. Basically, going to do a 2-course meal. And I wanted to do fish for a lot of reasons. Fish is more exciting, I think, also. But also, the fishing industry is getting killed right now because of lack of demand. And I know you guys are culinary students, and I'm sure some of you have experience and whatnot. But you know, it's almost like a taboo for the home cook to work with fish, and they're generally more afraid of it because they generally tend to ruin it. As you guys may or may not know at this point in your study, the basic rule with fish is don't overcook it, and it's done way before you think it is. So with that being the thinking here, I'm going to start off with, as Chef Joe said, with some scallops. These are local scallops. These are Barnegat Light, probably Viking Village scallops. They're U10s. Unit count is the same thing with shrimp in the business. The smaller the count, like a 10 versus a 16, the bigger the scallop. So these are nice large scallops. I'm going to do a crudo. So crudo, if again you're not familiar with it, if I'm being redundant, you're just going to have to put up with it because I don't know where you are in your education. But anyway, a crudo is basically Spanish or Italian, and all it really means is raw. So we're going to do a scallop crudo. Trace, could you put that for me one more time? And I'm going to dress it up with some blood orange, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of blood orange zest, some toasted pistachio, and I also have today some cool stuff. I'm going to use it in the first dish. I'm going to use it in the second. Chef, can I reach over across you for a second? Thank you. I have some wild ramps. So ramps are part of the onion family, the allium family, and they grow literally wild. I mean, you hear about wild mushrooms, which obviously there are, but there's also a ton of harvested mushrooms. Ramps just grow wild, and they grow in different spots. And as a result of a lot of good restaurant cooks and chefs being out of work and being real food folk, they're doing all kinds of things. So one of my guys, Ernesto, I can't tell you where he got them from. I can't give that up, but went out foraging as an unemployed sous chef. And he brought me a couple days ago over a pound of wild ramps. So these are what the ramps look like. You see the broad leaves. So they're oniony, but they also have a smokiness to them, a little pepperiness to them. There's a vague resemblance to arugula in that regard. And they just cook up beautiful, and they're also great. I took the bulbs, so I'll show you real quick before I get moving here. The white part, and this is a small one obviously, but the white part is the bulb, and you remove the roots here, and I pickled a lot of those. Then the leaves, I took the leaves and really just substituted them for basil, and I made a pesto, or a ramp pesto, utilizing pistachios in lieu of pine nuts because I like pistachios. And so all of that's going to be incorporated into this today. I'll move this up here for now. So let's get started with the scallops. U10s. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to set them on their side. The little tendon thing has already been removed, which you always want to do because they're chewy. And I'm just going to cut them relatively thinly. Notice the one is broken, which means absolutely nothing. Because I'm going to show you how you fix all that. Other one. So I'm cutting them like 1/8 inch thick, maybe. Tracy's going to get going over there with dicing up the apple for this. So this is a flat food plate. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has a cutout, which is very cool. I'm going to basically just come around. And I'm looking at the size of this now, Chef. I should have probably got a couple extra scallops.
Well, you know,
No, but don't worry about it. We know. Let's I'm going to garnish. I'm just going to lay them out like this, all the way around the perimeter. And I want them to be the same thickness. And I'll show you how I can achieve that. Okay, I was wrong. Good. Being wrong is good. Okay. So I have a nice little disc. And I also have my favorite tool, tablespoons. And do everything with tablespoons. Sauce, move food around, turn fish. All righty, now, well, that's gonna sit there for a minute. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do, blood oranges. Show you a little extra juice. I'm gonna use a little bit of the zest, getting the darker part of the blood orange skin. Really more for color contrast than anything else. Blood oranges have, I think, for me, just a little bit less sweetness than an average orange, but the aesthetic on them is beautiful. Can you guys see this all okay from where you're at?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. All right, now I'm going to supreme cut the orange. Once you guys haven't had any hands on yet, right?
yeah, they have.
Have they?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Some
Good.
of us did and some of us didn't.
Well, it's going to get a whole lot better when you do. So all I'm doing here is I want to remove the skin. Do this with any citrus fruit. Come around, see where you messed up. What you want to get rid of, what we're trying to get rid of here is the bitter part, which is the skin, which is called the pith. And we're going to cut in between the white lines that you find that separate the segments on the citrus fruit. Because again, they're bitter, and again, it's also an aesthetic. You don't want to dig them out. You want them to fall out. I'm not even going to do them all. I'm going to get the better ones. So I don't need them all. Okay, now I'm going to get the lemon. I just want a little lemon juice. I'm going to basically dress it with a little blood orange juice, a little lemon juice, and a little extra virgin olive oil. All right, there's all that. Did I forget anything? I have some chive blossoms, which grow in my garden. I was hoping they'd be, thank you. Here's the apple that Chef Tracy prepped for me. I was hoping they'd pop by now, but you see the little bulbs, it's still the flowers still haven't popped open. All right. Now I'm going to dress this plate. Yes, yes. Simultaneously, the next course is the halibut, and we're going to serve it with frigola sarda, which is a Sardinian pasta. Looks like couscous, but it's a little bit larger, and it's toasted. So I'll show you in a minute, but we're getting that cooked right now. All right, let's see. What do we want to do? Get a little bit of the apple. Surprisingly enough, apple goes really well with this. A little bit of pistachio. Just going to roughly chop these down. I love this flat food plate for dishes like this because it frames everything so beautifully. Never been a big fan of non-white plates. All right, so now you got a little bit of the blood orange zest. And we'll clean this plate all up. But we always clean the plates up at the end. If not, you continually cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. All right, I'm looking up on my board where I wrote my notes. I remember what I'm going to do with this. Okay, next is a little bit of lemon. A little bit of blood orange. Contrast on the colors is nice. And you know what, I'm going to salt it first before I put on the supreme cuts. And this is a hand harvested sea salt from Sarasota, Florida, where we vacation every year, which is a beautiful seafood driven economy down there. And next is, I got that, I got this, I got that. A little bit of salt's done. Okay. I'm going to finish up with the chive blossoms. That's that. Olive oil go last. I think we'll go take the stems off. You know, obviously, this is one of these finesse dishes. And the look of it is very, very important. It's something that you learn cooking professionally, working really, really fast, working under a lot of stress. Obviously, I'm not now. But you have to work with finesse. And one more. Wipe down, bleeding. A little bit of olive oil. This is a Spanish olive oil. You know, we do. I mean, I have 3 or 4 different olive oils at home, depending on what I'm doing. Really? So that's that. Where should I set it for a presentation? Go ahead.
You guys get a glimpse. I can't turn the dish. We turn the dish, we start to run the liquids.
So that's the presentation. There's a lot of variations on this theme. The fish could be a lot of different choices. The citrus, a lot of different choices. Different nuts, different vegetables. That's the beauty. So that is Crudo.
All right, so I have a question.
Yes, go right ahead. I was just going to ask about questions. Go right ahead, dear.
All right. Okay. So basically, I wanted to know. So, how much do you think that dish will cost? Because, well, I'm just asking for your opinion, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. Okay.
That dish basically saw it used up 2 U10 crudos. I mean, 2 U10 scallops, That's a $15 dish.
Okay, I was about to say 20, but I was close.
Well, I always try. It's funny. Students always ask that, and that's smart. It's a good question, and I tend to generally come in a little bit lower. Thinking food costs, but you think about the products that were on there. Blood oranges aren't cheap. Pistachios aren't cheap. You don't know about scallops already, and plus the amount of time that goes into doing it right. So, again, it depends on the individual restaurant you'd be talking about. But a minimum of 15, 16, 17, 20. I feel like you're hitting me a little hard, but that's okay.
No, the reason why I would say 20 is because of how it's shaped on the dish. So I go to restaurants and I don't mind paying 2 or 3. So I would pay, my amount of money for what I see. That's the only reason I'm asking. So
well,
my bad.
it's a pretty plate, and that's a big part of the reward. Dining out is more than just eating. It's a show.
Yeah, it's like an art show.
Yeah, and by the way, it doesn't mean that all food has to look beautiful. You get good barbecue, you get good fried fish places down south. We're not there for the aesthetic.
Yeah, we're there for what's
on
the plate.
Give me brown food and I'm happy. That's fine.
Exactly.
But depending on the style of cuisine that a restaurant is running, and that is a pretty aesthetic kind of dish, and it's using quality product, and it takes some finesse to do it. So, any other questions?
No, that was that right now that I have on my mind. But go ahead, Patricia.
I have one. Did you come up with this ingredient on your own? Is that something like you just started messing around with?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Crudo, I've been working with raw fish for a long time, and all the different, like most Americans, we got turned on to raw fish in the very beginning by the Japanese with sushi. But then it certainly wasn't like they invented the art of eating raw fish. And the French and the Italians and the Spanish and the Greeks, they've all been eating raw fish for a long time also.
Right.
So really, I remember when I was young, they'd say, well, there's sushi grade 1 or sushi grade 2, and none of that proved to be true whatsoever. The way you decide what fish to use for a dish like that, where you're not going to cook it, is it's got to be super fresh, impeccable. And then once you do that, then you think of just appropriate flavor profiles, and you think culturally, this I would say is a touch more Italian than anything else, but it could be French components with it. It could be Spanish components with it. It could be Asian components with it. So, you come up with your main star of the show, the protein, almost always, and then you build around it with flavors that work.
So would you consider yourself like a sushi master because you know so much about raw fish? Like, is that
no, I just, what I know about raw fish? I look at the fish and I smell the fish, and if I smell anything, I know it's not good.
Right.
No, seriously. People fool themselves with that kind of stuff all the time with fish. Like, well, it only smells a little bit. It's not supposed to smell at all.
Yeah, see, I don't know what.
It's not. I know.
It smells like.
It's supposed to smell like absolutely nothing, except for a few exceptions. Oysters and clams have that brininess, that oceanic aroma to it. When you open up things like scallops, all you want to smell is sweet. You smell a sweetness that comes off the scallop.
Yeah.
Yes, no smell. If it smelled, I only get $7 for the dish. If it doesn't smell, I get $20 for the dish. So.
Okay, I have a question myself. I have $15 on me right now. Can I have that plate?
Listen, I'm only trying to work through and around the pandemic. I know how frustrating it must be, and I give you guys credit that you're hanging in and you're doing all the right things. And as Chef Joe has said, you'll get your hands on stuff in the kitchen, and then by the time you get to that part, you're going to be so backed up on hands-on, you're going to be doing nothing but hands-on probably.
Right?
But it's got to be very difficult. It's like watching television. Like, okay, I don't need this. Yes, and I would sell it to you for $15 because the scallops were nice and fresh.
Hey.
All right.
Do you deliver though?
Yeah, he's persistent. No, I don't deliver. That's good, guys. That's funny. You want me to talk to you about the next dish?
Yeah, go ahead. Take us to the next dish.
All right, thank you. This is frigola. Frigola sarda. It is a pasta from Sardinia. You see it's little balls. If you can see that. Oh, damn.
No, not really.
No, you're not going to be able to. Just think couscous, but a little bit brown. And the reason why is that they're toasted ahead of time. So we've got some over here boiling off. I'm going to heat up my saute pan.
I wonder if they're toasted before they're dried or after they're dried.
I don't know when they actually do the toasting, but we know they're toasted. I step back off camera, excuse me. I've got a piece of halibut, which, and Trace, you can start with the spinach too. If you're not familiar with halibut, okay?
But you can see it here.
Yes, good, okay. If you're not familiar with halibut, halibut is this is an expensive piece of fish. Halibut's a white fish, it's a lean fish, it's a big fish. Alaska, North Atlantic, dense, but very lean. Which, again, if you're not familiar, lean doesn't necessarily mean good in the fish business because the fatty fish like tuna and salmon, they have those omega-3s, fatty acids, which are good for you. But with that being said, all fish is good for you. This happens to be a lean fish. This is about a 6-ounce piece. And all I'm going to do, first thing I'll do is I'm going to get the skin off. This is not a fish where we like the skin. So I use a flexible blade. Just saw back and forth. That. And I'm a maniac when it comes to drying things, excuse me. Like all my proteins, especially super dry. It allows me to get better color, sear everything. Tracy, do you have the other one? This won't need much time in the oven because we're going to cook it. It's not the thickest piece. So we'll cook it 90% in the pan. Now, what Tracy's doing over here simultaneously is she's going to take the spinach and she's going to wilt it. Let me grab these ramps back for you. She's going to wilt the spinach. So wilting is really just a little bit of butter. We'll put a touch of moisture in there, water, stock, whatever. The spinach and 1 garlic clove. And we're not chopping up the garlic. The garlic's there basically to scent everything. So, you good? So, that's what's happening there. When you salt greens that you're wilting, whether it's kale, spinach, chard, any type of green, you have a lot of it. And when you're done cooking, you got a little bit of it. You want to season it, thinking ahead of time, saying to yourself, I know I'm only going, I got this much to start, but when I'm done, I'm only going to have this much. So you don't season it based on the volume of what you're starting with. You season it based on what it's going to shrink down to. And it's a very simple, very clean way to do it. I'm going to take these ramp bulbs, and I'm just going to cut tight little rounds because they're going to go into the, once the frigola is cooked, the frigola sarda is cooked, I'm going to go right into a saute pan with some butter and some ramp here. I'm actually going to grab a little bit more because I have a lot. And I can use either the greens. I'm going to show you. If you watch his saute pan. So I threw one leaf. Watch what happens. Just browning a little bit. There it goes. Now it's going to start popping. And see, the guy, it's a shame. If you could smell this, you'd understand what I'm all excited about with these ramps. See what happens? They get all kind of, like, they smell fabulous, and they're also, they get brittle. You can hear it crunch. Chefs love things like this. These things only pop for once a year for a month. Middle of April to the middle of May is when these ramps pop, and every chef and their mother is always just running around, ramp this, ramp that. These are the type of ingredients that get you excited because we don't have any control of it. It's all Mother Nature kind of stuff.
I don't suppose we'll see much Facebook posting this year.
No, no. All right, we got the greens in there. Did you hit it with a little touch of water, Trace? Okay, and you seasoned it already? Okay. So I'm going to season very lightly. A little bit of pepper. Garlic's in there. Again, all we do with the garlic is crush it, peel it, throw it in whole. And that's ready. Great. Gonna lid up the spinach, because that's the wilting process, by the way. I guess.
Nah, that's all right. Just as I got the camera there.
So here's the frigola. So it's been cooked, boiled to al dente. Now all I'm going to do is a little bit of butter. Trace, throw a knob of butter in there for me. A little bit more. Yeah, good.
You'd be able to see it.
So the frigola is cooked. Now butter into a small pan. Some ramp. What else do I have to throw in there, Jeff? Yeah. And I can start with, you see me turning around, just looking at the oven to see how far along we are. I'm going to start with the halibut. So again, seasoning, vital. A little bit of finely ground black pepper in this case. I'm going to wait the salt right before I go into the pan, for the simple reason that salt, one of the multitude of cool things that salt does, is it draws moisture out. So as I'm adamant about keeping moisture out of pans or out of my proteins, obviously it would be crazy to salt it way ahead of time and have it sit and draw the moisture out. So that's my thinking on that. I'm going to taste this. Okay. Another chunk of butter. Okay. Now I can start the fish. You see the spinach? Just wilted. That one, oh, it's open now. Froze for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to go another piece of butter, Trace, for the fish. Now I'm going to salt the fish. we always start cooking things on the presentation side. So if you're wondering what's the presentation side, just think of whatever looks best. Chefs will tell you many things, skin side, non-skin side. All I know is whatever looks best is what I want people to see. And this looks best in there. So basically it's the non-skin side. A little bit more. All right. Especially thinner fish, flounder, sole, small snappers and black bass and whatnot. When you're cooking just the fillet, a lot of times you don't have to go into the oven. I just always have it on as a backup. After I flip it to the non-presentation side to cook the other side, I just keep it in the pan and push it off the burner. And the residual heat will do everything I need to see. All righty. Yeah, cool. Frigola is heating up. Heating up. And a little bit of saute going on here. Nice. This is one of my favorite pastas. And you can use it in a lot of things, not but like tomato sauce, that type of stuff, but in stews and in soups and whatnot. And now I'm going to flip the fish. Boom, best tool on the planet. What's nice about halibut is it flakes. So I can be a genius here. I'm going to know exactly when this is perfect because I can see inside of it. And I can watch it go from that translucent to opaque. All right, chef, let's see. I'm going to get this board out of here. I'm going to bring our plate up. How's my time, by the way? Huh, yeah, good. You guys all good out there? Take that as a yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Coming in the oven.
Yep.
Chef.
While I plate the rest of the dish. Let's see. All right, some wilted spinach. Some frigola sarda. My ramp pesto. Pesto, right, guys? 1 clove of garlic for every bunch of basil. I use ramps in lieu of basil. I use pistachios in lieu of pine nuts. And there's a little bit extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Pesto in Italian just means paste. It means it's like the same thing, pasta. Paste means carries a lot of meanings in Italian. All right, let's check the fish. Right back, guys. Another minute. Another minute. I can actually sauce this in the meantime. Well, I might as well do all 4 corners now, huh? And what am I going to garnish this with? What did I decide on? Some lamps. All right. Fish is ready. Right? Did I get everything on this plate, guys?
Oh yeah. Hey,
All right. So how much would
Chef
you?
Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Chef Charlie, don't forget to take a picture of both plates for Jane and
Oh,
for
yeah. Hello,
OIC.
Chef Blair. What's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah. Take some pictures for both. There's a little
Yes.
publicity
How
for
much for
both
that
schools
plate?
there.
I'll spend top dollar on that.
Well, you would
All
doing
right.
that. The halibut's
Okay.
expensive.
Okay, so that looks like about an $80 plate.
How much?
What?
Whoa. I,
80.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get these. We gotta get these guys into the business.
I spend
Just
like
deep
14,
Man,
pockets.
you're paying-
$15
listen,
Gotta get their
14, I'll
friends
say
to
like-
Exactly.
You wanna listen? It's so many people talking at the time. Listen, the reason why I would say $80 is because of what type of plate it is, and then how it's plated for two, and then what type of fish it is. I don't eat seafood, so I just know for a fact that I know.
Well, again, both fish, the scallops and the halibut, are both expensive. That's at least a $30 plate.
30.
Again, it's also featuring something in the mid-30s. It's only a 6-ounce portion.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that price right.
So what's a bigger fish that
You mean
because I don't eat
portion-wise?
seafood. I don't. Mm-hmm.
Well, portion-wise, I mean, if you're getting a fillet versus a whole fish that gets, fillet tableside, you're generally the average portion is about 8 ounces.
Okay. So
8
the
ounces,
reason why I'm
could be a little
asking,
bit more. The funny thing about, like the old saying, like, what weighs more, a pound of bricks or a pound of feathers, and people get confused. And they obviously weigh the same, but if you use that same type of thinking, you say, well, can I eat? Does 8 ounces of beef eat the same way as 8 ounces of fish? The answer is absolutely not.
no, it's
8
not.
ounces of beef, I'm old. I can't eat 8 ounces of beef anymore. I can eat 8 ounces of fish because they eat differently, if that makes any sense to you.
Mhm.
I break down differently. And,
They
yeah.
break down differently and they're lighter by density. Obviously not by weight. 8 ounces is 8 ounces, but they're lighter by density.
One thing I wanted to point out on the plate, if you can see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah, if you can see, it's hard to tell on this computer if you can see the color of the fish. But when Chef was talking to you about drying the fish, without drying the fish, that color was never going to happen because it was going to steam instead of actually.
Yes. Yeah. Again, especially when you're working with expensive product like that, there's a lot of, again, finesse and detail. Finesse and detail. I get crazy with drying my proteins. It holds in the color better. I mean, it holds in the flavors better, the juices, gives you that color, that caramelization, which you're always looking for, gives you a better presentation. And also, it stays true to the cooking method, which is basically pan roasting, starting in a pan, finishing in the oven versus, as Chef Joe said, steaming it.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
No, chef.
No, not at the moment that I know of.
Well, I'm glad you all tuned in today. And again, I'm not blowing smoke at you. You guys stay focused on this. I give you a lot of credit for signing up and doing this during this difficult time. It will be worth it. It will be worth it. And you guys stay focused and keep on learning. And hopefully you can add this to your arsenal and to your knowledge base. Make your life a little bit better when it comes to cooking.
Yes.
Great, Chef. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And there we go.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Chef Charlie, for coming in, guys.
You're very welcome. Yeah, they were been very nice. It was a good crew. A lot of questions. Good. It was very good.
Chef Bleach,
What's up?
I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right?
I'm about to email you because some of us didn't. Some of us.
Thanks,
wasn't-
Chef. Have a good day.
All right, guys. All right, chef. All right.
Kira, what were you trying to say to me?
All right,
Oop, I
basically,
lost.
the homework, I had emailed you one of the homework.
Yeah, I'll just take a look at it.
homeworks.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
All right, but email me what else I need, what else chapter I need to do, because I'm missing like one more, but I can't find it, and I don't really remember. So just
Yeah, I'll
email it
go
to me,
through a
okay?
list on Friday's class, and between everything, I'll just go through the list, and then I'll let you know the page numbers. I'll just have all that written down. So.
Okay.
Otherwise,
All right. I just
that'll
wanted to
be
make sure so I
fine.
can tell everybody else.
All right, that's fine.
All right, Chef. All right. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, that was cool.
Bye.
Peace out, chef.
I'll see you, Jay. Kareem, you gonna wake up?
I got your message, Chef Bleacher.
All right, cool. That's what I thought was gonna happen. I don't know why the girls didn't follow us.
Mm-hmm.